What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri zone, and welcome back to I think it's episode 5. It's episode 5 of our podcast. We missed. Oh, we didn't. We missed a month, but it's the first week of January, so we didn't really miss a month. But we're back with a lot of things to talk about. The Super Copa, obviously, the forms of both teams, transfer windows, everything that is coming up. A big month of January, and then February as well. Because I think we started Champions League maybe the first round if you're in the playoffs in February as well. So a lot to talk about. First off, Anthony, welcome back. Happy New Year as well, and yeah, good to have you back.
Good to be here, bro. Hope you're doing well. Happy New Year to you and your family. And I'm sure we both would have liked to have sit here to discuss our first topic with one of us with a trophy next to us, but we're both losers today, and there's no other way to put it, to be honest. And I know that you'll understand because you set the same sort of standards that I do. If you're not first, you're last.
Yeah. The first let's get into it because the first topic is Supercoppa. It ended yesterday, and you have a different stance on the Supercoppa than me, like completely differently, because I don't rate the cup. To be honest, especially with the new format, I cannot really take it. I cannot take it serious. That's just me. It's just for the money, and it's really for the money. And the moment the Saudis will say, "Yeah, it's not worth it anymore," it will go back to just a two-team format, and that's something I don't hold up to a lot of value. I know you care a lot, or like you care about winning the cup because I saw you getting mad yesterday on Twitter for not getting the job done. So I will start off with you, and then I will go back to our time in the Supercoppa. How do you feel? Because I mean, I can imagine how you feel because you were 2-0 up and you threw that away. So yeah, like how was that even possible?
The cup itself is not the reason I was angry. Super coppers will come, super coppers will go, and nobody will remember it the day after that you've won it. But to lose a derby like that, to have one hand on the trophy, to almost be thinking about lifting it, and to start thinking about the momentum that it will bring. Because in context, that's what the Super Coppa really is all about. It's momentum. It's a chance for you to carry on contextually to your season's objectives and to march on and achieve them. And we had a hand on that trophy. We had 2 feet forward into the next realm of motivation, and we would have kicked on domestically after this, feeling on top of the world. Well, not only that, not only did you lose the derby, not only did you ship 3 goals in the second half, not only did the third goal come in the last kick of the match, you've breathed new life into a Milan side, which, let's face it, they will continue to drop plenty of points in Serie A. But it was another situation where you had a chance to be a really big side. You had a chance to do yesterday, Inter had a chance to do yesterday what you guys would have done in between 2012 and 2020. And that was step on necks, be ruthless. It doesn't matter which way the trophy glistens. At the end of the day, there's a trophy there to be won. We had one hand on it. Uh, it meant a little bit more this time around because Simone Inzaghi would have been the first one, I think, to win that many in a row. So would have Inter. So there were a couple of ways that we could have rewrote history yesterday. And overall, it was just a catastrophic disappointment. And I think the real big disappointment is that it reminded some of our fans that we aren't at the level that a lot of the world perceives us as at the moment. There's a lot of people in the world that put Inter very close to the bracket of Liverpool and Madrid for European football because of the way we have sort of stepped it up a little bit in recent years. But I never once thought that we were in that realm. I think that our depth in Serie A is good for what it is, Serie A, but to compete on all fronts is looking a little bit shaky. And yesterday was just a reminder that things are not fantastic. They're good. They're pretty good, and they can get a little bit better, but they're not fantastic, because if they were fantastic yesterday, Ale, we wouldn't have conceded 3 goals to our borderline biggest rivals and let them party into the night as well. But I feel about 80% better today than I did yesterday because it was the Super Cup. It was the Super Cup, and with a good night's sleep and with enough to do, we can forget about it and we can move on. So overall, very disappointed, very frustrated, very angry yesterday. But overall, now it's time to move past it and let's see how this galvanizes the squad. I saw Lautaro in tears at the end of that match. He probably thought to himself, Jesus, I've finally scored a goal in a match where the fans are going to appreciate me. And we've gone off and shipped 3 in the second half, and I'm the captain. So it is what it is, man. That's my thoughts. What was your reaction and thoughts to you guys as well? You know, you guys didn't ship 3, but you shipped 2 in quick minutes. Milan really came in like a thief in the night in this tournament, bro.
Yeah, on Lautaro, we'll talk about Lautaro in a sec because I want to talk about that incident or like that thing post game as well.
Yeah.
For us, it's basically the same thing. You know, we cannot finish off games. Games we control, we cannot see them out, and it's costing us. Like it's just really costing us in a crazy way because against Fiorentina we dominated and we forgot to kill it off, and then the one moment you don't pay enough attention, you get punished. And for Milan, it's the same thing. Like total control, absolutely. If Locatelli doesn't make that mistake, no chance they get even a decent shot on target in that game. That's why when people at the stream yesterday, people were like, "Oh, you see what a new coach can do." I'm like, if Locatelli doesn't make that foul, they were not even close to scoring a goal. Yeah, Theo Hernandez had one chance, but that was just from a corner that just for some reason bounced to his feet. You know, that they created nothing and they were never going to create anything because we were in total control of that game. It's just Locatelli loses his head completely for no good reason. You know, that's if everyone who play football, that's just a foul. You don't make. You just see the player out, you know, out of the box, and he's absolutely going nowhere. And you give them life again for no reason at all, just self-inflicted. And then the second goal, like if we want to talk about coaching, if like it's luck, like it's luck that won them the game, not coaching, you know, and the our ability, actually our talent right now to not kill off games because you come out of that locker room, it should have been 3-1 within 10 minutes, you know, and the game would have been completely yeah, it should have been 2-0, excuse me, within 10 minutes, and it would be completely over. But like I said, you know, it's an issue. You cannot brush it aside because it happened a couple of days before against Fiorentina. You know, total domination, and you just miss opportunities, you miss chances, and you kill that off. You know, and that's something you need to learn. And again, people are saying it's not luck because Leipzig and Inter were luck. Then you watch 2 different games because against Leipzig we created chances with 10 men down. We were pushing for that win. We created chances all game, even against Inter. Like you should have scored the third one or the fourth one at one point, you know. And we made some good saves, but we were always in the game. You know, the moment Yildiz came in, we created chances again. We were dangerous. Milan were not even close to doing anything. I don't care that Leipzig and Inter created chances. That's not the point. You know, my point was Milan were not creating anything up to that moment. That's what I'm saying. I don't care that the opponent was creating chances. I'm talking about our side. And we were in control of that game until Locatelli, I don't know what he did, because the weird part is like a second before that, Savona made the cleanest of tackles. And the ball bounces towards Locatelli, and Locatelli's like, I'm gonna outdo what Savona just did. And I'm like, idiot. Like, idiot, because this team is not good enough to overcome their own mistakes. They're absolutely not in that situation. And if you're gonna shoot yourself in the foot, then you're gonna just lay down and people are gonna kill you. Other teams are gonna kill you. Nobody's gonna help you. We don't have the mindset. We have the quality to overcome these situations now and then, but we are not in that situation right now where the players can link that quality to the mental ability to overcome those situations. So we're just doing it to ourselves right now. And I don't know what the way out of it is, because it's a mindset right now. Because there's no way, I think, like when people talk about you know, the squad not being good enough and there've been mistakes, and the squad is good enough. It's more than capable enough to beat that Milan side, to beat Venezia, to beat Fiorentina, like name it. They're more than good enough quality wise. but
Yeah,
mindset wise, they're not there because
100%.
they don't like they find ways to not win games. That's a weird talent to have, but we managed to 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 have that this season, and I don't know how to get out of it. Like I don't know how to get because not even a win of the Supercopa because for them apparently the players, the coach, they would have won it. They would have wanted to win it. Like Gasperini made it very clear he didn't care at all, and fair play, I guess. But Motta and Locatelli spoke about we want to win it, and people thought if we would win it, it would change the mindset. It wouldn't change that at all. I would agree. Like I will come on and say, yeah, mindset change if I see us win a couple of games in a row. But we've not done that for I don't know how long. Like we won Verona and Como, and I don't know, was it PS? No, and then we drew in the league. So we don't have a winning streak. We don't have a winning streak. So it's tough. It's tough because we have a tough January coming up. We'll talk about that as well. I'm not scared of facing Atalanta and Napoli, by the way, because we have more than enough quality to beat both teams.
Oh yeah,
Like we have more quality than both teams. I don't care what people say. We have more individual quality, but as a team, we're not there. We're just not there. As a mindset, I've watched, for example, Napoli play Venezia, and that game was rubbish up to a certain point. I think minute 70, and Napoli was like, okay, we need to step it up now because we're not going to win that game. And chances just, the pressure was so much that Venezia just folded, basically. But up to that point, it was like it was unwatchable if you were a Napoli fan. But they have that mindset. We don't. So I'm not scared going to Napoli or Atalanta or playing Milan at home. Why would I be scared? I'm not scared. But at one point, it needs to click. It needs to click, and right now it's just it's weird. It's weird. It's weird because I don't know the solution. I know like ex players and everybody has their own solution. And everybody has a say right now as well. Even the people who were very quiet for 3 years now have a lot to say, but nobody just gives a solution. It's all generic. Back in the 2004, we fought for every game. I'm like, yeah, have you watched that squad in 2004? Like the comparisons are actually disrespectful in my opinion. When I see ex players coming out and talking about in my Juve, we always fought to win. I was like, your Juve had Zidane, Del Piero, and name the insane list of players. Yeah, it's gonna happen. Now we have Savona. We have Gatti, we have Kalulu. These are the players we have. New players who have won nothing as well. Like for Savona, for example, was playing Provercelli last season. It's normal that we don't have that mindset right now. However, I expect Malta to install that. But yeah, right now it's not even close. Because let's move on. Let's move on to the next topic. Because is it a crisis for us? And I said after we didn't beat Fiorentina, I said it is a crisis, but it's not the crisis like last season when we won 2 or 3 win games out of 14. That was also a crisis, but it was a different type of crisis.
for sure.
It's like and people do not want to, I don't know, see the difference. I don't know what it is. For me, it's a crisis because we cannot win games. Like we cannot win games. For me, that's a crisis because the end game of the game is winning games. So it is a crisis, but not a crisis to an extent where I follow a lot of people saying, "Oh, the season is over. Sack Motta, throw it all out of the window." I'm like, that's just going overboard. You're like way overboard, in my opinion. I don't want to become that club because the moment we do that, we're gonna go down a road I think nobody wants to go down, in my opinion. But it is a crisis. We cannot win games. Like it's as simple as that. So I don't know how you look at it, but for me, it is a crisis. Only it's a different type of one than I've seen in the last couple of seasons.
It's definitely different to your crisis of last year because last year you had a situation where even before Allegri went on that run of form where you literally couldn't buy a win at a bake sale if you tried. The fans already knew that his time was up. The style of play was outdated. There were many faces in the locker room that you could tell were not putting up with this regime. The fans had turned on him. That was a real crisis. It just took a little bit longer for the results to show the form of the crisis. And in the turn of the new year, when we were about to play you and you started dropping the points to Empoli, Udinese, and everybody else, that's a real crisis right there. That's the sort of crisis that sends you to Retiro twice every 2 months. This is just, there's a lot of bad luck that's played into your season, but there's also a lot of questions that fans will rightfully be asking. But the fans need to realize that Turin is not Bologna and it's not Naples either. So you can't expect the time to be given to these people in the same way that it's been given elsewhere. And what I mean by that is that if the signings that you've put money down have not hit the ground running, the director will take the heat. Most times out of 10, the director will take the heat. Even though in this situation, I don't think it's all Giuntoli's fault at all. Koopmeiners was one of, if not the best midfielder in Serie A, Barbarella, for the last few years. You guys wanted him. He went and got him. You get what I mean? He's not the only player as well. You guys wanted Douglas Luiz. He's not cheap. He went and got him. Yeah, he missed out on a couple of his targets, but it's not for a lack of trying either. I think that with the criticism towards Motta comes from the fact that fans expect him to play some sort of way that he played with Bologna last season. And the way that Bologna played last season was with loose shoulders, no monkey on your back whatsoever, because that's a permanent luxury that a club like Bologna has. Go out there, have fun. If you happen to overachieve, va bene, we'll take the money, put it in the bank, and we'll start again. And hopefully we can do this once every 30 years. That doesn't happen at Juventus. You need to win, and you need to win yesterday. So he's not winning today. And that's the reason why fans are very much up in fire. But it would be the stupidest thing in the world, Ale, for fans to turn on him to the point where they say, sack Motta, rip it up, start it again. For what? You've started again every season for the last 5 years, even if it has been with the same manager back to back. There has been a new project every year. You guys are on your 5th year zero. It doesn't work like that. And fans like you can see the bigger picture, but to me, it's overreactionary again. It's not like you're 12 points outside of the top 4 with 6 games to go. You're still very, very much in a race to reach the minimal objectives / acceptable objectives.
It's only 3 points, I think.
It's 3 points, bro. You're probably not going to win the Scudetto, but that was never going to be enough to get Motta sacked, Giuntoli fired, and the entire project ripped up. I mean, don't get me wrong. If that did happen, I'd sit there and laugh. I'd message you behind the scenes and say sorry, but I'd probably release my own video mocking the situation. But it's not going to happen because it doesn't make any sense. What's the alternative? Bring back someone like Max?
There's no alternative.
There is no alternative. You've doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on this project. The way to make it work is to make it work. So a little bit of patience is needed from the fan base. And I'll just repeat again, Turin is a very different place to Bologna and Napoli. So yeah,
it is. People hit the like button and also subscribe to Anthony's channel. You can click the name and the title, so I made it very easy. But people, I can understand people are out of patience. I get it, because we haven't won for 4 years, and that's too long, you know. However, we cannot blame Motta for the mess up in the previous 4 years. That's what people do not want to talk about, you know. We cannot blame Motta, or we cannot say, oh, it's year 5 we've not won, so get Motta out, when he wasn't part of the previous 4 seasons. That's not on him. You know, everything that happened the past 4 years, that's not on him. I've just found it interesting that I hope Motta reads the newspapers, by the way. I hope, and he actually keeps a list, and because I can see it in the presser, he writes everything down. Every journalist says, literally. But I hope he reads the newspapers, you know, and because I've seen papers and journalists who were doing absolutely nothing last season. We were losing games, and we were getting smoked by the most bang average side. Like, actually lose 3-0, 2-0, not 1-1. Like, actually lose games, you know. And the media was not even questioning Allegri or his job in year 3, by the way. Right now, we're, I don't know, 6 months, 7 months in, you know, actually of season of football, I don't know, 4 or 5 months. And people are questioning his job. And that for me is just insane, and again, everybody does what they want. There's a difference about criticizing him, which I do every day because I don't like certain things. I do like things. I I do I'm compassionate with the fact that he wants to do things, but it's not possible because of certain moves we haven't made. But I flip it around. I'm like, okay, the moves didn't happen. Now it's up to you to just figure a way out of it, and make it work with what you have. That's what all I'm saying. But he needs to do better. Like you said, it's not Bologna, it's Juve. Expectations are higher. He's not shying away from it. I don't think anyone is saying you don't need pressure. There's always pressure at Juve. Like that's how it works. If there was no pressure, we wouldn't be a successful club. That's as simple as that. Without pressure, you won't become successful. But that being said, I'll give him time because I believe in him. He wasn't my first choice, but that's not the point. He's here now, and I'm gonna back him. I'm not gonna. I don't hope Giuntoli pulls out. He can because his future is kind of tied to this decision. I just hope he backs. Malta would just not happening right now, to be honest. We will talk about that in a sec as well. But yeah, it's a crisis. It's just a different type of crisis. For me, a crisis that, like some say, maybe January can escalate it into a real crisis, or you could just turn it completely around and everybody's look. Because how crazy it sounds, we still haven't lost in the league. It's not a brag, by the way. I'm just pointing out that if you just won 2 or 3 more games, which you should, by the way, considering the teams you played, and you dropped points, against it, considering the teams you dropped points to, you'd have been up there 3-4 points off. Would that change the outlook of the season? For me, a lot of people would say, oh, it's only 4 points. It's completely different, but it wouldn't be completely different because the performances would still be the same. And that's why on my channel, I always talk about performances and the result. They're 2 separate things. Because if we won 2 more games and we played awful, then even if we were 4 points off the top of the league, I was like, yeah, it's kind of a false image. But I know for a fact that a lot of people who are saying now get him out will be on a different tune, and that's why I don't follow a lot of people, because it's very reactionary, it's very unrealistic. That's how I'm viewing it. Right now, we're not winning the games, and we deserve where we are. By the way, we are not winning for a reason. I'm not talking about bad luck. The only bad luck is the 2 injuries to Cabal and Bremer. That's just bad luck. Season gone. That's the only bad luck we had this season. All the other injuries, yeah, it's unfortunate, but I don't know. The performance against certain teams, that has nothing really do with all the injuries, But that's just how I'm looking at it. Right now, we have 11 draws in the league, and we deserve to have 11 draws in the league. It's as simple as that. And we cannot shy away from it. And we need to own it. And we need to go again this Saturday against Torino. That's the only thing we can do right now. That's it. So,
yep.
Let's move on. Because the next topic, well, it's Vlahovic. And I think the following topic is Lautaro. So let's start off with Vlahovic. And people keep hitting the like buttons because, now they're going up. So there was a glitch. But keep hitting the like button and subscribe to the channel as well. Vlahovic.
Can I jump in? Can I interject here?
Yeah, you can go because it's going all over the place, and actually I think it's very simple right now, but yeah, you can go.
Yeah. That's the silver lining of the whole situation, is that Vlahovic has sort of made it easier now for everybody to understand. So he needs to go. He needs to leave. I guess now we know that his body language and his facial expressions over the last, I'm not even going to say this season, let's trickle it into last season under Max's regime as well. He hasn't been putting in 100% as a Juventus player, which is the bare minimum requirement for a Juventus player, to put in 110% and realize that the badge on the front of the chest is heavier than the lettering kit on the back. He is not one of these players. Dusan Vlahovic plays for Dusan Vlahovic. His career is for Dusan Vlahovic. He will never fall in love with a club because he's just not that sort of human being. He will never play for a club fully because he's just not that sort of human being. This guy needs to be carried by the club. And when the club is struggling and when things are down, Don't rely on a player like this to bring you up because he doesn't have the capabilities to do it. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. But in football, I guess you could really change that quote to when the going gets tough, the tough actually do get going. They get going somewhere else. They piss off. And that's exactly what Dusan Vlahovic needs to do. He needs to piss off and stop being such a turd in your punch bowl, or stop being a thorn in the back of your heel, because at the moment he is slowing it down. The problem is that it couldn't come at a worse time for you guys, because for some reason your management is operating in a way where you need defenders, but you're sending defenders away for free. And I know Danilo sucks, and I know Danilo's probably been on your topper list to get out, but you're getting nothing out of it. You're, demeaning his overall role as your captain. You're going straight to Napoli and offering them free food that's not expired yet, even though it doesn't sit well to be on your dinner table. That's fine. Someone else is going to eat, bro. Someone else is always going to eat the food if it's not expired yet. And going back to Vlahovic, you guys need forwards. You guys need strikers. You guys need reinforcements. And now this guy he has you by the balls. He's just too daft and stupid to know that he's got you by the balls. And I don't even think he's in a hurry to move on. I think these sort of players, they love limbo. They love being in football limbo. He is on a stupid amount of money, a disgusting amount of money. And he's going to drag that out. If he needs to drag that out till the end of the season, he will. Because how long has he got left on his contract? A year and a half?
Yeah, 26.
So he knows he's leaving. He knows that Juve will not get nothing for him. But you think Vlahovic cares whether or not Juve get 35, 40 mil in January versus 25 mil in June? No way. He doesn't care. He still gets paid no matter what. So if you're really going to be ruthless with anybody this market, stop with the Danilo thing that was never going to get you 4 million euros to begin with. Now he's going to go for free and probably get a severance package because he's pissed off. This whole Vlahovic situation needs to be handled yesterday, bro, because, I know it's early January, but is it early January? It's the 8th of January. In Mercato language, we're 35% of the way through the market already. It needs to be fixed. And I think I was nice about your Motta situation. So, yeah, I'm going to be a bit of a prick about the Vlahovic situation. It's embarrassing, bro. That's an embarrassing situation you're in at the moment, man. Thanks for letting me talk.
Yeah, for me, it's simple. January move was never on the board. It's just media talk. It's as simple as that. And I think it's a bit unfair towards Vlahovic. And with unfair, I don't mean performance and the criticism about that. I'm talking about the fact that it was. I don't think the club ever entered January with the idea of we're moving out Vlahovic. That's how I'm like going off the news reports and from where the reports are coming from. I'm like, this makes no sense. Like, this makes absolutely no sense right now. So that's how I'm looking at it. He's gone. He's gone in the summer. That's definitely going to happen. I don't know to which team. I don't think that's very relevant to us right now, nor the money we're going to get, because he's going to stay in January. And that's just what it is, because it makes no sense. Like, maybe it makes sense to move him on in January, but we only have one striker. Moving out one to get another one, I don't like. You're not solving
No.
anything. And RB comes Giovanni Albanese is not a source. I'm sorry. Like,
Is he just a Juve journalist?
I don't know what he is. He thinks it's you. Like the last time he got something right, I probably wasn't born. Like, it's horrible. Like, it's actually horrible when it comes to news with that guy. But I do agree that he's going to leave, And if January is on the board, that means the club received an offer and they're just pushing him out, telling him, get out. I don't think Vlahovic is sitting at home saying, I want to leave in January. Because it makes no sense for him as well. Because he is starting with us, because there's no competition. So for him, it makes really no sense to leave in January as well. When he knows that I'm probably gone in the summer no matter what. So it doesn't make sense for him. It only makes sense for Juve's part. And that's if a ridiculous offer comes in, which I don't see happening right now. Because if a team wants to put in a lot of money for Vlahovic, I think that bid would have come in the first week of January. You're not going to wait, because everybody knows the situation of Juve. We only have one striker. If you come in late with a bid, even Juve is going to say, well, no, because we do not have another striker. So it doesn't really make sense. The timing is a bit off as well. But yeah, the body language, I don't really care about that. I just care about you're playing rubbish. Like that's the only language I speak at this moment in time, and it's horrible. And I'm probably being nice. I think everybody saw the comps. I think that's enough. You didn't need to watch 90 minutes. Against Milan, it felt like they rolled them out 10 seconds before kickoff, and they're like, figure it out. And he's like, what the hell is that round thing out there? That's the type of game he played. It was dreadful. He couldn't control a ball, like the most basic stuff. So I don't know where his head is right now. It's definitely not in putting in good performances. That's very obvious, and it is what it is, I guess. But I don't think that's the biggest issue. The biggest issue is we don't have options. Going into the season with one striker is just, I've never seen that before. I think maybe Arsenal this season, but you usually don't see that. You don't see a big team, going into a season with one striker. That's just weird, insane. That's basically as weird as people believing Milik would have come back. Like people actually believe Milik will come back and be our guy.
I'm gonna look up his injury timeline now. When's he coming back?
He's not coming back.
He's not coming back.
He's just not. He's not coming back. He's never gonna play for. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if it's April and he's still not back. I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
He has a muscle injury. Like, we need a striker. Like, moving on Vlahovic, cool, but we need an option, because now he's pulling out Vlahovic and he's playing Gonzalez and Yildiz, and like even Mota's like, I need to figure it out. Like, what do I need to do up top there? Because it's different. I need to play a different style. Like, I need to do. It's messed up, and now he's injured. He has a muscle fatigue, so probably he's not going to play against Torino as well. That's what I'm like. I don't like to make excuses, but I'm sitting at home and I'm watching Mota having two healthy center backs and Gatti and Kalulu. If one goes down, we have no center backs, and having one striker. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, yeah, it's not good enough, but come on. Like, forget about what we spent in the summer. The squad is not complete, and we need help, because you're forcing players to play too much in different positions. It's not helping those players, and it's just not helping the team in general. But Vlahovic is gone, the money is insane. The deal was insane. Actually, when we talk about his wage, it's not straight up money. It's just signing bonuses. We didn't pay upfront. We just put that into his wages. So his wages are 7 or 8. They're not 12. Because people think he's earning 12, but in a normal deal, it's 8, and the 4 and the 4 and 4 we would have paid when he signed. So we just spread that, and he agreed to do that. Basically, that's why the wage is insane. It's still insane. Like, don't get me wrong, but usually we don't see that part. We don't see what the signing bonus is. Like, we don't think about that. We just added that to his wage. That's the difference, and that's what makes it insane. If people from the outside are looking at it, it's still insane, because he's definitely not worth that. But it's not easy for Giuntoli as well, because he came into the club, and you have that player on that money, and you need to figure it out. It's not easy, it's not easy to figure it out. Like, so I feel for Giuntoli in that regard, because I don't know how you find a solution that suits everybody, your finances, the club, Motta, the squad, and him as well, because he needs to accept a move to, I don't know which team, So yeah.
I think with Giuntoli, like the one valid criticism I think fans will be that, he has had time to figure out certain situations, and he's sort of thought to himself, no, it'll be okay. Well, guess what, brother? It's not okay. So I don't believe a lot of Juve fans when they say that Calafiori wasn't a genuine target. He was a genuine target. So was Todibo. And when you missed out on those, getting Kalulu, I think with the Bremer injury is very unfortunate. But from the day after that is where you need to lock up your centre-back target, because you're still going through the January motions, and it doesn't really look like you're any closer to locking down a centre-back. We can go into the Hoysen situation, but I don't think you'll want to do that because that just seems
Yeah,
like a bit of a mistake. But at the same time, like these things happen for a reason. And Giuntoli, even though you're a director, there's no crystal ball that sees into the future. So I know looking back on it now, selling Hoysen looks like one of the worst pieces of business in the world, but he was sacrificed to make other moves, right? To make sure that you had
yeah.
the funds for players like Coop Miners, for Luiz. I guess it just hasn't, it's just really has poleaxed and polarized into a bad situation, obviously because of the Bremer injury. But I do think Giuntoli has had time to be proactive and to fix certain situations. And you're in the situation you are now because he probably has rested a little bit too much in a couple of aspects, if I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah. We will talk about the market in a sec, but I agree. I don't think certain things are fair, other things are not fair.
Yeah.
But let's move on. Let's move on to your striker, who is
Good. It's been a Juve bashing stream, so let's get into bashing some of my boys a little bit.
bashing. I don't know. Like, let's go from I don't know overpaid striker to I don't know how you want to call it. He actually played probably one of his best games. At the post game, you talked about that video where the video I saw was that he was, I don't know, clapping off his players, his teammates, like
consoling them as they came off the
consoling,
stage
yeah.
one by one.
And I was like, it feels staged. I don't know, like it felt, I don't know, like everything feels off when I watch him play. He's horrible this season. Like he's not playing well. Like, and I'm being nice. Like the game against Atalanta, oh my god,
Yeah,
and I didn't watch the game. I just saw the highlight reel of what what he missed, and I was like, oh, I mean, that's insane. Like he's not playing well. Yeah, I don't know what you make of him because he played well yesterday, and it ended up in nothing, I guess. But throughout the season, like he's getting outshined by Thuram, which I kind of predicted at the start of the season. I was like, he could be that guy, I said he could be top scorer of the league. I said in my one of my preview videos I did with Julian on the channel. I said I think I don't know, is he up there with Retigi? Maybe. But he's getting outshined by Thuram, which is not a good sign, to be honest. Because if Inter needs money, I don't know which team will come in for Lautaro, but they might pull the trigger this time around.
Who's come in for him in the past though? We
you
even
told
had this once before, you and I. Like we put him on this pedestal in Milan, and Serie A puts him on this pedestal like he's the most sought after thing since Sergio Aguero in his prime. But guess what? We haven't gotten an offer for this guy in 3 years. 3 years, man. We have not got it. And I know he's signed. We've done the right thing. We've made him captain. We've renewed him, I think, twice in the space of 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So, you fend off people by doing stuff like that. But we're still in a world where the guy won a World Cup and scored the winning goal in the Copa America. If clubs want him, they will ask for him. Man City will ask for him. Madrid will ask for him. Even Barcelona with no money still ask for the players that they want and look for dodgy ways to bring them in. No one's coming for him. Nobody is coming for Lautaro Martinez because they know that a lot of his game is hype. They know that he is not the end product that people think that he is. I will say one thing. Lautaro can still have good games without scoring goals. I don't think Dusan Vlahovic can have good games without scoring goals. Lautaro Martinez still does more off the ball, more with the ball without scoring than Vlahovic. But I didn't want to make it a Lautaro versus Vlahovic thing. I just saw RB Comps's comment down the bottom. Lautaro, however, like we have been saying on my channel with my friend Mario Galliano and my friend Bruno, Lautaro Martinez has been great at doing absolutely everything but putting the ball in the back of the net when it has counted, bar last season. You are the captain, you get 10 million a season. You need to put the ball in the back of the net, and you definitely need to be hitting the target a lot more than you are because, like you said in the Atalanta game, this guy is awful at the moment. It's like there's a mental block that he simply cannot get over. And I think that eventually he will come out of it, but are we in a position now to accept, okay, you're going to come out of it, you're going to score 3 goals against the Salernitana of the year, whoever it might be Venezia this season, it might be Como, it could be Monza, anybody. You're going to stat pad your way throughout certain stages of the year, and we will forget about it, hopefully, because you're the captain and you lift a trophy, because You know, when captains take photos with trophies, it's almost a cleansing of the faults of the past. You always get a chance to reset again, no matter what sort of trophy that is. For me personally, I would have entertained the idea of offers a long time ago. But like I said, there are no offers to entertain. Even if we did need money at the end of this season, Ale, unfortunately, I think I know exactly where it's going to come from, and it will come from Marcus Thuram because we bought him at a 0 parameter. I'm not saying I want this. This would be horrible, but I know how my club works. And if there's a club in the Premier League, or Paris or Bayern, and they want to come in and go, 80 million euro release clause. Yeah, it's expensive, but it's not a 250 million euro Neymar release clause. It's not a Lamine Yamal. It's not a Musiala release clause. That's for damn sure. It's nowhere near what the release clause was for Robert Lewandowski in his prime either. You can still catch this guy with years left on a fee that you can wash. And I think it's going to happen. Just quietly, the other unlikely transfer to be transferred out at the end of the season is going to be Hakan because he's 31 years old. He now has a recurring muscle strain, which is a huge factor. Recurring muscle strain. And if Saudi Arabia are looking at our favorite Turkish kebab, like you can really be a poster boy for this country, I think that we will definitely entertain offers there. But that's a conversation for another time. Going back to Lautaro, he will do what he does best in the back end of this season. He will score goals, not really important goals, but he will still score goals. He just needs to do better because we are largely compensating for him throughout. Yes, Thuram, and people will say, well, what's another forward for? Correct. But we're also compensating for him drastically from the wing backs and the midfielders in terms of goal scoring output. And RB comps, I don't know if you didn't understand me, but that's exactly sort of what I was saying. When Vlahovic isn't scoring, you've lost the only dimension of his game that can help you. With Lautaro, there have been many games this season where we have won. We have walked off the pitch happy. I have done a match reaction happy, and after the first 2 to 3 minutes, have had to sit there and go, all right, now let's talk about the fact that Lautaro Martinez still could not buy a goal today and played absolutely poor, despite the fact that we've won by a couple of goals or more.
Yeah, I was not like I don't think an offer will come in for for Lautaro, but should it arrive, I think he will pull the trigger 100%. Marotta, he should pull the trigger on him because
it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy to rebuild from that. Even if Toro is not informed, at the end of the day, you're selling your striker, you're selling your centerpiece, you're selling, the guy that is supposed to attract other names here. And Lautaro Martinez his career at Inter has been a success. It's been a great success, no matter which way you put it. This is the guy that was brought into shadow Mauro Icardi, saw the way his compatriot acted and had to go, oh crap, I'm about to be top dog here soon. At least I've got Romelu Lukaku next to me but oh crap, he's going to jump ship as well. Well, guess like it's me up top now. So he's still achieved slightly more than I thought he would in his position, because had you asked me 5 years ago, is this guy going to be the captain leading in years to come? I'll go, to be honest, I would never see this guy as a captain. I would always see this guy playing second fiddle and just being someone who contributed in ways that help us win accolades. But here we are today, highest paid player on the team, captain of the team, captain who won the second star and the Scudetto as well last season. So this is where we need to be a little bit more patient with him. And our fans have kept saying that this season through their frustrations. They've said, no matter how many times we've verbally bashed him this season, we will always usually end the sentence or the video or whatever with, but he is our captain, he is Lautaro, he has done well for us, and we will continue to back him. Let's see if that energy stays next season, bro, because I have a feeling it won't.
Well, I agree, and to be honest, I've never rated him that highly. Not to say that like he's awful or like he's an average player, but I don't know. Like I'm not a fan of his. Maybe that's why I'm saying that. I don't know. How old is he? Is he 27? 6?
Yeah, he'd be 27 now, turning 28 this season. So like the last 4 or 5 years in life and football have moved very quick, haven't they, man? Because there are still a group of athletes that I still picture in my head. I'm like, oh, he's in his early to mid 20s, but no, Barella is not in that age bracket anymore. Nor is Lautaro. But Bastoni's getting older. Di Marco's getting older. The young core is now going to become the experienced core by next season.
Yeah. But yeah, I think if an offer comes in, and maybe there's a team out there who's who is desperate. I don't know. I think they will cash in, but that's just me. Um, do ask that question about Marotta in a second when we talk about transfers, because there's still one topic I want to get to before we go to transfers, and that's Serie A, because we have another like 15 minutes or so before we need to wrap it up. So Serie A, look ahead. I do not know your schedule. I'm not gonna lie. I know our schedule, and our schedule is hell. Is actually hell if you look at it. Out of the top of my head, we play Torino. Then we play Atalanta away from home. Then no, I'm lying. Do we play 3 away games? That cannot be right.
No, I can't be. I know that you play Atalanta, Torino, and I think that you play Napoli as well, either side of a.
Yeah, we play Napoli. We play Milan. Actually, now I'm thinking about it.
Crap, your fixture list sucks.
I have them here. Now I'm thinking about it, and people, maybe I'm just blanking it out because maybe I want to blank it out. This is the first time we play Atalanta this season.
How many games have we played in Serie A? 18 or 19?
18. But you know the weird thing is we played Torino the second time already. Before we play Atalanta the second time. If we play Atalanta the first time after we play another team the second time. Now I'm just clocking it now. Like, I'm gonna be honest, it's the first time. It's weird. It's very weird.
It has to be because some sort of rescheduling or rotating.
I think it's because of the Supercoppa. I think it's because of the Supercoppa.
Yeah.
I think it's that more.
Because
we played midweek.
That situation as well, and I think it might be with No, we played Empoli. I'm pretty sure we've got that situation as well, where we haven't played every team yet, but we're about to play Venezia for the second time this season.
Oh yeah, we play midweek against Atalanta. So we do have. That's why we have Torino away from home. We have Atalanta away from home. We play Milan at home. We play Bruges away in the Champions League. We play Napoli away. We play Benfica at home in Serie A. So in the Champions League, excuse me. So it's extremely difficult. Then February becomes a bit more quote unquote easy, I guess. Also because there's not a lot of games. I think there's an international break, maybe. I'm not so sure. But yeah, January is insane. So our look ahead is obvious, and it's something I want to talk about in the next topic. It's going to be hard because of the transfer window. In a sec we'll talk about. Giuntoli is sleeping. People keep hitting the like buttons. Do it now because we only have another 50 minutes. That's why it will become difficult, more difficult than it already is. But I'm not scared. If that makes somebody ask, how can you not be scared? We cannot beat Venezia, because I refuse to be scared to play Atalanta away from home and Napoli away from home. I refuse to do that.
Plus, you play better football when you've got the gaps to expose other teams and at least play your game to an element. Yeah. Everybody can see this season that you guys would struggle to break down a knee-high wall.
Yeah, I think it's going either way. You're going to lose a lot of games, or you're going to start losing for the first time this season in the league, or you start picking up results. I don't think there's draws in them between those games. I don't think there's a lot of room to get draws, because I think you play a Torino team, they will, like, they're not good, but it's a derby. They play to win that game, because even if they pick up a point, it's not something to celebrate. They're kind of in a situation where it's like a loss or a win, like we need a win. So they will come at you. Atalanta will go for it. Milan are not going to sit back because they need the points right now. Like, they desperately start to need winning. Napoli maybe will sit back a little bit, but you're playing teams, Bruges, they're going for it. Benfica, they were going for it. So it will be more open type of game. So I don't see a lot of room for a lot of draws, in my opinion. So it's going to either way. I don't know what your schedule is. I do know, because I have it here.
I can definitely talk about it too. We've got an easier fixture list than you guys. Obviously, this is supposed to be the month where we put points together, which is why the Supercoppa and the manner that we lost it really irked me so much. It's not the Supercoppa. Who really gives a shit about the Supercoppa? But if this now starts to trickle into what should be, let's face it, 4 Serie A wins out of 4 in January. We go to Venezia, we host Bologna, we host Empoli, we go to Lecce. Don't tell me that we should be dropping a single point in those games. If we get anything less than 10 points out of 12, that's a failure. That's a failure. Even 9 points is.
I think
9
you should
points
get
would
12.
mean that exactly 9 points would mean that you did not get a point in one of those games, and that's bullshit. I can forgive one dropped game in that period because of the Sparta Praha match and the Monaco match, either side of the Lecce game there. We might need to put a team together on paper that could still get 3 points in the Champions League, because in the last minute in the hurdle against Leverkusen, we really fucked up. Excuse my language, but that was a game where 1 point meant way worth more than 0. We could not get that 1 point. Another reason, brother, that I was frustrated yesterday is because this wasn't an isolated incident. We had you guys on the ropes at 4-2. It ended 4-4. We had a penalty against Napoli with 15 minutes to go. Hakan decides that's the best time to miss his first penalty in 4 years. We had Champions League qualification done. We decided to concede a last-minute goal to Leverkusen. We had the Supercoppa in our hands, and we threw it away. So a lot of my anger and my reaction yesterday wasn't necessarily because we lost the Supercoppa. It was a realization and a resetting of the ego that allowed me to sit back and go, hold up, we're still in a grind here. We're not special. And a lot of the Inter fans think that we're special, but we are not special. We still need to grind this out. We have been third majority of the year. I don't care about games in hand. No one is looking left at Gasperini now and saying, yeah, bro, you're not going to win the title. Who would say that? Who would say that with the way that he's playing and with the way that the form that they've got? Who would look at Antonio Conte to the right now and say, yeah, you're not winning the title? If you had the confidence to say that on match day 3, 4, 5, 6, you should not have the confidence to say that now. They are just as much in this race as Inter are. And we need to respect the fact that if we want to not only win this title, but stay in this race, you need to get through January well. What, you want to walk out into February -6 from Napoli, -6 from Gasperini. You end up 2 games behind Conte going into March. And I swear to God, I wouldn't bet a brick on my house that you will win that title. We are down to the sticky time now. We are now down to crunch time. And Inter needs 12 points from the likes of Venezia, Bologna, Empoli, Lecce, because that's what title-winning teams do. They go and they get 3 points from these games so that they can afford your slight slip-ups. That might happen on the 9th of February against Fiorentina. That might happen on the 3rd of February against Milan. That might happen on the 16th of February against Juventus. That might happen on the 2nd of March or the 16th of March against Napoli and Atalanta. And those are the sort of high standards that this club need to be setting for themselves on the pitch, in the locker room, and off it as well, because it can still go pear-shaped tits up very quickly. The playing European football, it's not like it was when we were growing up. Remember, you saw it as an exciting trip midweek. It is becoming a chore. It is becoming a task, man. And with every tournament and their new formats, Ale, it's just becoming more and more of a chore. So yeah, easier fixture list than you guys in January, but that's going to count for very little if we're both walking out of January wounded going, well, we should have got points here. We should have scored there. We should have done this. We should have done that. Oh, well, we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. I don't want to think about that right now. I will just go game to game in this January, and then we'll see.
If I can ask you one question, just a sort of side question, how are you feeling about the derby for you guys against Torino? Do you expect history to take precedence there? Because history says that, you know, you could put prime Barcelona in front of you guys. You guys will still find a way to win that derby.
Yeah, maybe it's the idea that the perfect timing for history to be made, because of our season is going. Torino finally winning the derby again at home, and actually putting our first L in Serie A on the board. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we will beat Torino. That's how I'm looking at it. Like, if you don't get up for that game, I don't know if you cannot get your mind right for that game as a group of players, then I don't know when are you going to get your mind right. You know, if you cannot see out that result, that game, then I don't know which game you're going to see out the result and the game. So the pressure is on from Malta and the players, and they know that they will need to show up on Saturday from minute 1 to minute 90 and put out a very good performance and keep home the points. I know, you know, Consasawa is iffy and Vlahovic is iffy and Locatelli is suspended, But I don't really want to hear that, if I'm being completely honest. I don't think Vlahovic has been a positive factor for us anyway. Locatelli has been, so that's definitely a miss. But I mean, you need to figure it out. You just need to figure it out, I guess. So yeah, that's how I'm looking at it. One sec.
Yep. Yep. I would have to agree, man. Game by game at the moment, no point. You can't look ahead at a calendar that congested. You really can't. Big up everybody in the chat. To answer your question, Jurgen, why are we speaking about Inter here? Because this is our show, man. This is our show, and we're going to continue to do this for one another. But yeah, feel free to come and check out Inter Worldwide if you like as well, because you're never going to see fans from the club that you hate the most whinge like you will on content creator channels, man. So thanks for the love, either or, Jurgen. But yeah, I'll reiterate what Alice is saying. You can't look ahead. In a calendar that's that congested, like, I'm just going to glance at it one more time and then turn it off because it's giving me a headache. Like, how many goddamn football games do you want to squeeze into 1 month? This is absolutely bizarre.
Yeah,
It
it's
looks
insane.
like a bad dream. It looks like a bad dream every time I open up the football calendar. So I'm going to close it.
Yeah, it's a bad. It is bad. And Jurgen, it's a Serie A. It's an Inter Juve show. Once a month on my channel, and once a month on his channel, or like every single month on each channel, on one of our channels. So that's why we talk about both teams and all the rest. Last topic before we wrap it up is a very easy one for me. Not easy, but easy in terms of how to explain it. Start of the summer, or the start of the season, end of the summer, we needed a striker help in January. We knew that. Season ending injuries for two defenders. We needed center backs, defenders, and then maybe a striker. It's the first week of January, and we are not close to doing absolutely nothing. That's to put it in a nutshell. It's everyday news, and it's no news. That's as simple as that. If it's Silva and now that name disappeared, it's a Tomori, and now that name disappeared, is it Araujo? And then that name disappears, is it Sancho? Is it, I forgot the name from the last player yesterday, Di Marzio linked with us. So it's either way. Or the media has no clue, or Giuntoli has no clue. And I'm going to go with Giuntoli has no clue, because the need is so big that if Giuntoli had a clue, the players will be in by now. And Motta will be in Torino at the Continassa, having two, or at least one new center back at his disposal. And that's not the case. And that's like, this is an excuse. That's not an excuse. That's a valid reason for Motta to say, I'm in trouble. If Kalulu picks up a yellow card or gets suspended, or knock on wood, picks up a muscle injury, or Gatti, we don't have a center back. And you're going to play Napoli, Atalanta, Milan with one center back if one goes out. So we can blame Motta all we want, and fairly, because he has things to be blamed for. But right now, I'm looking at that squad. I'm like, it's incomplete. Yes, because of players, they're coming back, those players, but right now they're not coming back. So it's a shit show. I'm not gonna lie. The Danilo one is a shit show because he's coming back and he's gonna train on his own. But he asked to leave. He wanted to play more, and he was not gonna play more because Motta doesn't rate him. So he's now turning around saying, "Let me go on free and pay me out." I'm like, buddy, just sit your ass down and don't ask to leave then. Like, just accept that the coach does not rate you. If you want to leave, then leave. But, we're not going to pay you off, and you're still under contract. We want a transfer fee. If not, then sit your ass on that bench. And if Motta calls you to play a game, you play a game. I don't want to hear he's a captain, because if people still are running that crap in 2025, then you deserve to be where you are. Like, that's as simple as that. Nobody cares. Like, it's all now, a captain, we are doing him wrong. 10 years from now, nobody's going to mention Danilo. And if we are, that means we have been shit, and people are holding this against the club for some weird reason. If normal things resume and we start winning again, there's no sane person going to mention Danilo 10 years from now. Absolutely no sane person is going to do that. He has to leave, and he has to play more. That's basically the situation. And Motta has been very honest to him. I don't rate you, for a very good reason, by the way. A valid reason. And that's saying a lot, because he's trusting Serie C players, ahead of him. So he doesn't rate him. He wants to play more. Fair. But you're on the contract. If you want to leave, leave, but we want a transfer fee and we're not going to pay you off. If not, like for the club, if not, then you sit your ass on the bench. It's as simple as that, you know. But yeah, that's that, I guess. It's very simple for us. We need help at the back, and we're not getting help right now. It's coming in too late. It's already too late. Like we're playing 3 games in 7 days. It's too late. Like we're playing Torino. I blanked it out already. Atalanta and Milan in 7 days. It's too late. It's too late. So we're playing 3 games, and somebody will go down. I know that. You know, that's just what's gonna happen. And Giuntoli has done nothing. I don't want to hear money, because he had all the time in the world to figure it out. 3 months to figure something out. And right now, it feels like he's doing it all on the fly, waiting actually for opportunities when we are in a situation where we cannot wait for opportunities. So that's that. It's actually very simple and complicated at the same thing. That's how I'm looking at it. For you, I don't know. Somebody asked a question. Do you think Marotta did a poor job last summer? You know, depth-wise, do you think you're gonna do something? I've not read that you're actually trying to do any type of business, but Çalhanoğlu is down, like you said, and he's a recurring injury. I don't know. Like, did he did a poor job depth-wise?
He definitely didn't do a poor job. He didn't do a great job. But at the end of the day, Inter's been in this situation since Antonio Conte walked away. We know that we're not going to have a transfer window that suggests that, oh, look at us, Inter's back. Inter's really putting their foot down here. There will be no 200 million spent. There will be no Koopmeiners signing. There will be no Douglas Luiz signing. We have completely resigned ourselves to that fact. And that's why it's really good to have someone like Beppe Marotta, who understands this league and this country almost too well, because he's the only man that can sort of get you out of this situation. We're very lucky to have him until 2027. And all I can do is hope that he extends another year after that, or at least passes on all of his connections and teachings, which is going to be borderline impossible, to the team that takes over after that. The market itself was not good. I mean, I think we ended up signing, who did we get for this market? We ended up getting Taremi for free. We ended up getting Palacios, who's played under 30 minutes altogether as a makeshift centre back.
I forgot about him.
We also, yeah, most people do. And I guess the big thing for us is that signing Zielinski was meant to be a lot better.
Yeah.
This is my one criticism of Inzaghi this season.
He's not using him.
He's overplayed Aslani 1 to 2 to 3 to 10 too many times. This is the sort of player who has been given his opportunity. You know, when sometimes fans are in a little bit of limbo because half the fans are like, oh, they haven't been given a chance, blah, 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 which is what our situation is with Fratesi. There is not an Inter fan on the planet now that is giving Aslani one bit of sympathy, man. He has been played into form. He has been played in situations where he has had many opportunities, full 90-minute matches, not subbed out in matches when he has been poor. He has had more than enough of a chance. And Inzaghi now needs to realize that you are a capable manager, capable of shifting these players a little bit more. Move Mkhitaryan to the right, shift Barella a little bit lower, put Zielinski in there. You don't need Aslani to just be the like-for-like Hakan substitution, because it is not working. He plays with fear. He is a kid, and unfortunately, he just gets knocked around too much. When he comes to receive the ball, he does not do what a regista is meant to do. He does not open up his body and look for space. He closes down and looks to pass it back short. He does not turn into the open spaces. He turns into the safe spaces where he can protect the ball for one extra touch. And that's not the way you're supposed to play in that role. I get it, being conservative sometimes has its pros when you're up by 2 or 3 goals. But when you need him to be on the front foot, he is not a front foot player for Inter, because overall he does not have front foot confidence. It's not working. He needs to go tomorrow. And we read an article a couple of days before that apparently we rejected an $18 to $20 million from an English club. Mate, I would really love to shake hands with the English club that thinks that they can give us that sort of money for Christian Aslani, because we really, really should be entertaining that sort of money. We don't need him. We don't need him. We need a better replacement for Hakan. We're going to need 2 CDMs, man. We're going to need 2 registas at the end of this season. A new Hakan and someone who can play for Hakan. Me personally, if I was Inzaghi, I'd see this as a golden opportunity to convert Zielinski deeper. Zielinski can play that deeper role. He's got the technical quality. He's got the spatial awareness. He's got the experience. And maybe he needs these extra minutes to get rid of that little pudgy gut that he's got at the moment as well, because, you know, he doesn't look fit, but he is not being played at all at the rate that we would like. So I can't blame Marotta for not being able to, you know, get those 2 signings. Taremi has been underwhelming as well, but once again, like the Motta situation, do you blame Giuntoli full forward for that, or do you blame Motta the same way? Do you blame Marotta, or do you blame Inzaghi? I prefer not to blame either of them too heavily. They're sort of still testing the waters, working with what they've got. However, we're going to need better markets moving forward, Ale. We can't have a repeat of that, because we've been coasting on this very productive Serie A core of Lautaro, Barella, Bastoni, and then, you know, experienced players that have come in and won trophies as well, like De Vrij, Darmian. The signing of Thuram was obviously a very good one last season, and having his talent move forward is great. Denzel Dumfries cops a lot of stick and a lot of shit, but to be honest, who would you replace him with, especially in Italy? Is there a better right-sided fullback than Denzel Dumfries in Serie A? Because that position is slim pickings in our league at the moment, man. I'll give you a second to think about it. And if anyone's in the chat, think about it as well, because a lot of Inter fans are quick to get on Dumfries. And now I'm at the stage, I'm like, bro, with this guy's athletic ability, with his awareness for goal, with his ability to move forward, this is the sort of player that you go into the market to sign now. So don't sit there and tell me that Denzel Dumfries should be the first name out the door, because there is no way that I agree with that. And I'm someone that used to say, yeah, if the offer comes, definitely take it. But now I'm in the position where if you can't replace him straight away, you don't sell him, because Matteo Darmian cannot play as a right wing back anymore. He will play makeshift right center back until his contract is resided, which should be at the end of this season as well. We don't really have much more use for Matteo Darmian moving forward. I think Marotta has a big task ahead of him at the end of this season. The big task will be getting players like Acerbi and Darmian and Marco Arnautovic and Joaquin Correa to see the lining that you are done at this club. Would you like us to help you find a new location, or are you going to make this difficult for us? Hopefully all 4 of them accept their fate. Then he'll have the task of shifting 1 or 2 bigger pieces meaning players that, you know, actually play and get their minutes respective to their role. Whether it's Hakan, Thuram, Aslani, I don't know who it will be. Inter will still need to make a major sale. They will still need to make a major sale.
Yeah.
Signs wise, I don't see us putting money down for anybody. I see us moving more towards the BSEC type players, because that's what the Oak Tree model is suggesting. No more investments that cannot recoup future sale. Rightfully so. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, they're not ambitious about the club. Why should they be? Oh, they're not signing with their heart. Why should they? It's not the Moratti family in charge. It's not Steven Zhang with more heart than head. At the end of the day, Suning got us in this position. Zhang got us in this position by not letting go of his toy a couple of years too early. And yeah, I'm very happy for the work that he did. Very happy that he was able to return success from our club. But Oak Tree is literally here to pick up his mess. No other reason why. So if we're not going into the market for players in their peak, understand why. If we're not moving for players who are in form because we can't afford them, understand why. If we're not going to go for the same level of free agents that Marotta has been used to under the previous regimes, understand why. The club is in a very different position moving forward now. Sustainability is very important. This is not an inter-isolated issue. This is an issue with Milan, with Juve. You know, Napoli and Atalanta have it a little bit looser, but they're not going to drop money on players that our clubs would drop on players, if that makes sense. They're not in that bracket of spending and stature. So I feel like anybody who's competing for anything in Italy are on a very equal level playing field when it comes to market strategy, if that makes sense. Yeah, there may be differentials in different directions, but eventually it all sort of comes back to the same spot. I would say that you guys are the only ones that can still sort of move out of your comfort zone and go, yeah, we've got this debt, we've got that, but we are Juventus, we're backed by such and such. Let's just drop another 100 mil of capital, either or.
That's the difference.
That's been coming at the expense of your shareholders. And I think that narrative's getting a little, sorry, that story's getting a little bit old to them as well. You can't, that's not sustainable forever, especially if the signings that Giuntoli makes are not going to perform on the pitch and return results and trophies.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, we need to clean up our books because they were a mess. So that's why I'm not being extremely harsh on Giuntoli, but I'm not gonna act that like we can spend more than any other club in Italy still. Like we can, despite everything, we do have more money. We always found more wiggle room because because of ownership. That's basically that's the reason. You know, with different ownerships, I guess. But I don't think that's what we want to do. We did that in the summer because we moved out 8 or 10 players. Like, so you needed to sign new players. So we kind of force yourself into doing it. But that doesn't mean we're going to do it this season again. You know, we're going to sell players as well. And we're going to need to go again. But for now, we have needs and Giuntoli is not addressing them. Yeah, very simple. Mercato needs defenders and maybe a striker yesterday. And it didn't happen. So, yeah. Good luck to Giuntoli. Good luck to Gatti and Kalulu's physical shape for the month of January. Because with all, like, I'm not trying to jinx it. They're not going to survive. They're not going to survive it. It's impossible that they're going to survive. So we're probably going to see games where we're going to play Locatelli at center back or something. Like it's going to happen. It's not ideal, and I do feel for the players and Motta in that regard, where it's like you're forcing disasters upon yourself right now, you know. So let's see what will happen in the next couple of days. If Giuntoli will wake up and finally make up his mind for his target and push for it, but for now it's just wait and see, building up towards Torino, and we go from there.
Absolutely.
Okay, people, that's it. You know, it's been over an hour, which is very long for a podcast. Thanks everybody who has joined. Like the video, subscribe. Also like Anthony's channel. Link, just click the name in the title. Takes you straight to his channel. The next show will be in February on his channel. So not on this one. So that's why I said subscribe. So you'll know when the next show is. And maybe, I don't know, things change completely for the better for us, you know, and maybe for the worse for you guys. So you definitely want to be there if that's the case. But yeah, Anthony, thanks for coming on. Always a pleasure talking about not just my mess, but also your mess. Sometimes makes me feel a little bit better. Not a lot, but a little bit.
There will always be mess, bro. There will always be stuff for us to talk about. So yeah, thank you very much for having me again. If there's anybody that's not familiar with Inter Worldwide, by all means, there's no better time for you to come across, because about 5 minutes after this, I'll be putting out a video, not a happy one, okay? So if you like watching Inter fans have a whinge, definitely come over to Inter Worldwide. Thank you, Ali. I can't wait to speak to you again, bro.
Yeah, that's it, people. Thanks for watching. Have a good morning/evening, depending. As always, I'll be back live Friday. I'll preview the Torino game, and until that, just dailies and hopefully something breaking we can all be excited about. But until then, stay safe and speak to you guys.